Let's talk about Jack Hughes.
Tuesday, Hughes gets 8 years, $64 million ahead of his 20th birthday, I believe. No, he's 20 now. He's going into his RFA eligibility. Yeah, check that for me. I believe he's 20 right now. First overall pick, 2019 draft. Elliot Friedman wrote this in his 31 Thoughts column that dropped late night last night.
He is 20.
He's 20, awesome. The biggest criticism of Jack Hughes' extension is that he hasn't played much. 55 points in just 119 games. And remember, he got 8 years, $64 million. The only others at age 20 to 24 to reach $8 million in fewer games are Kaprizov, who is a special circumstance.
Yes.
Cale Makar, Zach Werenski, Sebastian Aho, Mitch Marner, Charlie McAvoy, Mira Heiskanen, Brady Tkachuk, Austin Matthews, Thomas Chabot, Adam Fox, Connor McDavid.
That's an extraordinary list. There are no busts in that list. Those are all elite NHL players. So what's the problem?
Is Jack Hughes in that company? Is the question.
Well, that's the question. So they're paying for potential here. But I think they were paying for potential with all of those players. I mean, some are better than others. But Kaprizov, like, we did have that discussion, I remember. We were like, would you pay that for Kaprizov? Yeah. But he also hasn't played very much.
And just to clarify, it was written kind of, I read it directly, but it was written kind of, it needs more context. So the first two names I read off were Kaprizov and Makar. They did it in less games. They got their $8 million contract in less games than Hughes. The second list, they have Werenski, Aho, Marner, McAvoy, Heiskanen, Tkachuk, Matthews, Chabot, Fox, McDavid. They were more games. They've all played more games, but they got the $8 million deal between 24 and 20 and 24. So everybody on the list got 8 years between 20 and 24. Or $8 million, sorry.
I got it.
There you go. Yes.
I got it.
Just to clarify.
I got it.
Yeah.
Well, and when Kaprizov started the season slow, I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. And now he's heated up and he's unbelievable. But
So let me reset and ask it again. Is he in that company?
not yet. He looked good in the 3 games that he's played this year. 3 points in 3 games.
That's it.
But I mean, the talent is obviously there. And if he is able to achieve what we all believe he can, because he's a first overall pick on a team that's been shitty. If we all believe he can play to his potential, $8 million, it's not going to be a discount in year 8. It's going to be a discount in next year when the thing begins. He's making as much as Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene. Yeah.
What's the Morgan Riley deal?
8 times 7.5, I think. He's going to be an elite forward in this league. You are paying for potential, granted. But if you're the New Jersey Devils, you go, okay, we believe in this guy. You can't make an argument that you don't believe in this guy. So you're going to bridge him because of why?
Right.
Why? Because you're such a great contender right now? No, you go for the deal that makes sense long term, which is this, I think. You're probably going to overpay for a couple years. Probably. But you're not even going to have to wait for halfway through that contract for it to be a disgusting steal. That deal listen, it could be a disaster. Obviously. Any 8-year deal with a player could be a disaster if they fall off a cliff. But that deal for a player with the ceiling of Jack Hughes has like Nathan McKinnon potential.
Right. And I was just looking. I want to see who he's behind in the lineup. They're going to have him playing on the first line.
I assume so.
Yeah. On the
top 6.
Daily Faceoff has him on the left wing next to Heischer. But do you want Jack Hughes to mature into a center?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's where you want him to sit as your number 1 center.
That was my argument with Brady Tkachuk. Would you want him? Yes. Is he an important part of your team? Yes. Is that a lot of money for a winger who's never scored 50 points? That's kind of a lot.
Okay. I'm happy with the deal. I don't understand the criticism. You probably don't look at the list and you immediately say he's in that company because of injuries, but he'll get there.
There's license to shit on the Devils.
Because they've been struggling for...
No, there's an industry license to shit on the Devils because I think of John Chayka.
What do you mean?
John Chayka's not in the... he's not on everyone's good list right now. I think, you talk about... It's a very small industry, right? So people talk and everything. Certain teams will get a pass in hockey circles and in the media. The Devils don't get it because of Chayka.
That's interesting. I would have never considered that.
It's correct. It's Chayka. There's someone else there who's really analytically minded. I can't remember who. Oh, for God's sake. And another guy who I followed on Twitter and I even played shinny with him a couple times. They're a very analytically minded team with a guy who's on everyone's shit list at the head. It's free reign or free open season on the New Jersey Devils.
He signed one good deal, and that's Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes. Evander Kane, there's an interesting wrinkle with what's going on here with Kane. He has a 3-team no-trade list. We talked about him last episode. He's going to report to the AHL, but he won't start until at least Tuesday because the Barracuda Sharks are on a road trip, and it's going to take them through next week, and he's not going to go on the road trip in the middle of that. So he probably won't report till December 11th.
And he hasn't played.
Yeah, give him time to warm up.
Why not?
So, also from 31 Thoughts, Kane has a 3-team trade list. He can only be traded to 3 teams. He's manipulated the list, and that one of the teams is the Winnipeg Jets. So who
he can be traded to?
He has a list of 3 teams he's allowed to be traded to in his contract. One of the teams is the Winnipeg Jets. So his list is essentially a 2-team list. Evander Kane, what's gone under the radar through this whole thing is that he decides where he goes.
And he does. You might say, well, no, he has to accept a trade anywhere. No, he doesn't. His contract's guaranteed. He's getting all his money in the AHL right now.
He's going to report to the AHL. He's going to try to work his way back to the NHL. And until the San Jose Sharks find a deal where Evander Kane is comfortable going to that market, he doesn't have to go there at all.
Because you'd assume Kevin Cheveldayoff is not going to trade for this player.
No,
he already had to trade for him.
That's a phony team on the list.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah.
That's clever.
He's knocked his 3-team trade list down to 2 teams.
Credit where credit's due. That's clever.
I think it's a little shitty.
Oh, but it's definitely shitty.
You're taking advantage of the contract.
Oh, wow. Notice he didn't put the Sabres. Oh, they're desperate enough they might actually do it. Shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the Jets.
You could put the Sabres on there and then, yeah. You could put the Sabres, Toronto, and Winnipeg. Because that would never happen.
So I just can't be traded?
If he wants to be in a situation where there's a complete no trade clause, then yeah.
What if he just played in the AHL for the rest of his life?
It could happen.
He'd make more money. I said this last show. He'd make more money. He doesn't have to pay into, I think it's escrow.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to report and he's going to play.
So he has every intention to play in the NHL again, publicly. But what if the intent is not that?
Just to get a couple extra dollars in his bank account?
Oh, it's not a couple.
Couple million?
It's a lot.
Couple 100,000?
I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a lot.
You got to call Frank Zega.
I do.
See how much money he's actually making.
What an interesting wrinkle. That's very... I'm sorry. Credit where credit's due. That's very funny. I don't know if that's because his new agent is Dan Milstein. I don't know if that's under the advice of Dan Milstein.
I assume it would have been the old agent because the contract would have been set a while ago, right?
Yeah, it's at the beginning of the season, right? That's what got Patrick Berglund, I think, in trouble. That's how he got traded to the Sabres because he didn't submit his trade list in time. Oh, poor guy.
And they were like, you didn't do it, and we're not going to be nice about this.
Yeah. That's some players I'm sure think it's just set in stone. Nope, doesn't work that way.